everybody, happy December. Well, December starts tomorrow and I'm hoping to use this as an opportunity to get out of my reading slump that I have been in for the last month. Now, I'm suspecting that this is in part because I've been moving house. I've spent so much time organising books that the idea of actually picking one up to read it is just so much effort. So yeah, it's been not a very good reading month for me, and I've not even bothered to make a wrap-up video because I've read about 2 books and neither of them were amazing. They were all right. Yeah, I haven't read anything terrible, but yeah, that's where we're at. This room is terrible. I'm going to take us upstairs. Is that better? I've got my Christmas jumper on, which, if you can see, it says "'Tis the season to be reading," although it's always the season to be reading. This is my new book den and it's almost finished. Let me see if I can give you a quick tour. So here we have the incredible shoe chair, which has been with me since my Manchester days. We have some literary fiction and some crime fiction around the corner there. Some artfully assembled booktuber shelves, which are going to hopefully sit behind me. Hiya, that's me on my chaise longue that I assembled all by myself. And looking around, we have my kind of fantasy, sci-fi to steampunk to books stacked up in the corner that I haven't arranged yet and that I'm not even sure sometimes that I want to read anymore. I did record a few videos as I kind of put together my new book attic. I don't know if you're interested in seeing them. There was a video where I unboxed some books that had been in storage for 3 years, and spoiler alert, there's a reason why I put them into storage. There wasn't anything that exciting in there. You might have seen on Instagram there were these books before they are now on lovingly displayed. It's like a bookshop, like a library. They were kind of piled up around the room in various ways until very recently. Aside from the change in location, I've also ordered a microphone, so if you've been struggling to hear me or if the audio's a little bit not as good as it could be, soon that issue is to be solved. Expect a number of improvements coming to the channel, and I'm hoping to get more into regularly posting now that I'm looking at defeating my reading slump. It's about to start. We're in the festive season, and those of you know that mystery is a huge portion of my reading. I was really surprised that I've only got like a little corner of crime books, because I thought it was kind of one of my main genres, but I've got an entire wall of fantasy and there's not as much literary either. Clearly I have become more of a fantasy fan over the last few years, and maybe that's the influence of my Discord friends, of my fellow kind of bookstagrammers, booktubers, and or maybe it's just that they come in the most splendid special editions and that's why they're now taking over the attic. December has always been a bit of a mystery kind of season for me, and I would say let's go into January, February with that attitude as well. I love a good mystery. They are the most satisfying books to read, those that have a bit of a twist to them, those that have something for you to work out. Like the time when I first came across Midsummer Murders and my parents were like, oh, this is really obvious who did this one. It was one of the old Barnaby episodes back in the 90s, or early 2000s, but it was a long time ago. And the ending blew my mind. I'm clearly rubbish at guessing who did it, but that doesn't mean that it's not my favourite genre. In order to facilitate my reading, I have made this bingo square, which the 3x3 fits with the letters of Christmas rather charmingly. So here we have my acrostic challenge for reading some Christmas crime. Most of these are self-explanatory. I've posted this on Litsy, I've posted it on the channel if you click on the socials bit, there is a copy of this, so feel free to play along with me. If this is going to get you motivated to read some crime, you don't have to finish the whole board, just see how far you can get. You know, see if you can get noughts and crosses with it. get a straight line. Just read 3 mysteries. Just have fun with it. It's not about how many you read. It's about, you know, crime and mystery. C, I've picked a nice easy one. C is for cozy. Absolutely loads of options here. Loads of options. Your Richard Osman to your Judge Rinder, even your kind of golden age is quite cozy. MC Beaton, Quiche of Death. Really, really huge genre at the moment, and you're never going to be short for cozy mysteries, whether it's a baking mystery, The Golden Spoon, that was a cute, not quite as murdery or mystery as I'd have liked, but definitely fits the bill. Thursday Murder Club, everybody loves those. What have I got in my bag of Christmas TBR? Ooh, this one looks like it would fit the bill because it's got a lantern and a cat on the front. No idea where I got this from, but it arrived recently. So it's called A Murderous Plot. It looks like it's got a bookshop on the front. There's a bit of a trend at the moment where we've got bookshops and cats on the front of books, but this one looks nicely festive. And someone's very handily put, fans of Agatha Christie, Ellery Adams and Lauren Elliott will be hooked on this cosy bookish mystery. It looks like it's about a writer who writes murders, but can she solve them? Don't know if it'll be any good. Worth giving a go. I can remember what the next prompts are, so I'm trying not to remember which ones fit what. Murder by Candlelight. I don't know if this is cozy, but it looks cozy, and if you look carefully on the back, there is indeed a cat. If there's a cat on the front, that's usually a good indicator that a book is going to have cozy vibes. Oxfordshire, 1924. The lady of the house has been found dead at the old forge, but with all the windows and doors to her room locked. How and by whom was she killed? Altered wills, secret love affairs. Sounds like it's going to have all the classic elements. And Candlelight, that is very much a... Ooh, the cat's on the front as well. Cat on the front. So that is very much fits the bill as well. I don't know where I got these books from. I don't even know if I ordered this year. Of Mice and Murder. This one's got a mouse on the front. Kind of, again, cozy vibes. And it's got a lantern as well. If you've got something with a cover like this, odds are it's gonna fit this prompt. You know, you can interpret cozy however you want. Just go for it. H is for historical. Now, some historical mysteries that I've already read and enjoyed, and you should too. Dissolution by C.J. Sansom. This book is incredible. Darkfire is even better, and unfortunately C.J. Sansom is no longer with us. I can't recommend these books enough. They are fantastic. They are quality murders. They are quality Tudor historical fiction. You cover both of those aspects. Honestly, brilliant books. They are top tier for historical mysteries. What else do we have historical murder wise? I haven't read this yet. Heresy by S.J. Paris, described as good as C.J. Sansom or your money back. Like the cover. Another author that would definitely, I think, fall under the mystery category would be Laura Shepherd Robinson. If you haven't read the Square of Sevens yet, read the Square of Sevens. It is absolutely incredible. It's a chunky book, but you won't regret any of it, and it's one of those books that gets better and better as it goes along. Recommended by a friend. If you don't have any friends, then you can just take any of the recommendations from this book. I will be your friend. If you've got a crime book or a mystery book that has been recommended to you, if you've borrowed one from a buddy, this is your opportunity. Use it for R. We've gone in translation because I used T for something else. See what I did there? We've got to be a little bit smart here with our acronyms. Read a translated mystery. Now there are so many of these. There are lots and lots of excellent Japanese mystery novels out there at the moment, and I couldn't recommend them enough. One of my favourite Japanese mystery authors is Masako Tagawa. She is brilliant. She writes kind of noir type, semi-historical. Actually, they're not historical so much as the books themselves are vintage. And these books are brilliant. If you haven't heard of them, give them a go. We've got Inspector Imanishi Investigates, if you want a book that's all about the vibes, that just makes you feel like you're in a detective novel in Japan at that time. I don't think the mystery was very good, but I enjoyed the book, if that makes any sense. Honjin Murders. Seishi Yokomizu. Yeah, I did go and check the name. Agatha Christie style, you know, your classical, absolutely bonkers, ridiculous setup. Way more complicated than it needs to be. Well worth reading this festive season. If you're not wanting a Japanese mystery. So, Claudia Pinheiro, who is an Argentinian author, best known for her crime novels, although she also wrote Claudia Knows. Not Claudia Knows, Claudia is her name. Eleanor Knows, which I wouldn't call a mystery novel, it's more of a literary fiction. But Thursday Night Widows, I've heard that this is fantastic. This is translated. Joël Dicker, who wrote The Truth About the Harry Cabert Affair, translated from the French. I've got about 3 of his books. Truth About Harry Cabert Affair has mixed reviews. I know a lot of people hated it. I really enjoyed it. I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm not saying it made a lot of sense, but I enjoyed the writing so much that I bought 3 books by the author. So yes. And then there's a chap, I think his name is Hans Ludlum, but I can't remember, I'm afraid, and I can't find the book. It's somewhere under the stacks. This is a good Norwegian mystery, again translated, and there's a lot of kind of Scandinavian noir out there. You've got plenty to pick from. Murder in Translation is all over the place, and yeah, broaden your horizons, get some reading from places that you haven't visited before. Yes, in translation, great prompt, highly recommend you to explore that, even if it's not Christmas time. The first S, let's go seasonal. Now, if you want some seasonal mysteries, I did make a video last year about the best ones that came out in 2023 in hardback. I think I read about 5 or 6 of them. Feel free to check out that video if you need some inspiration. On my list for this year, what have I got here? So, Sherlock Holmes and the 12 Thefts of Christmas by Tim Major. Now, Tim Major is a chap who used to go to the book club I attended when I lived elsewhere. He's a really smart chap, and he wrote some good speculative fiction novels. He wrote Snakeskins, which is kind of a sci-fi concept novel that I really enjoyed and would absolutely recommend you pick up. This one looks murdery on the basis that we've got Sherlock Holmes and 12 Thefts of Christmas. This had better be festive. It's got Christmas in the title. I had a bit of trouble last year with books pretending to be festive that weren't, just for the marketing. This looks interesting. I am going to give this one a go. And it's in hardback, so out now. Speaking of books that pretended to be Christmassy, Murder at Holly House last year was more of a spy novel than a Christmas novel, despite there being a chap stuck up a chimney. And yet I enjoyed it. The main character was really good fun, felt very much of his time, and it was funny, it was humorous, and often with books that try too hard to be humorous, I don't go with it, but this one I actually did enjoy. And here we have the Christmas Stocking Murders. Now, if this one isn't festive, then they really are taking the biscuit. The biscuit? Taking the mickey. We've got some nice sprayed edges, so I can stick it on my shelf next to last year's not quite as festive option. Is that a knife? 2 knives. So we have our Grasby, Frank Grasby I think his name is. He is our hapless detective. He is a bit of a tool, but he was great fun to be in the head of. He was kind of, you know, he's good fun. So I'm hoping that this one will be a little more festive-y than the last one. But I mean, the Holly House Murders was definitely worth a read just to get to know the character. Yeah, this one's actually got a stocking. There appears to be fish in it. Yeah, Christmas stocking murders on my festive radar. Christmas Tree Farm. I was supposed to read the autumny ones of this. Not a mystery, but seasonal and sparkly. But I'd probably have to read the pumpkin one and the cinnamon one first. And I feel like autumn is kind of coming to an end. The cover though, these are so cute. And this one's called A Christmas Mystery. I got this one off Vinted. Charlotte King, A Christmas Mystery. Part of the Cambridge series of murders. It's possibly self-published. So if you like an indie choice, maybe have a look at this one. I don't know whether I can recommend this or not because I've not read it, but I did like The Long Shadow by Celia Fremlin. I've heard good things about Celia Fremlin. Meant to read this one last year and didn't. Welcome to the Nightmare Christmas Holiday. And Mistletoe Malice. I don't think that this is a mystery per se, it's more of a family drama, I think. That's by Catherine Farrell. These two were meant to be on my list last year. Did I get round to reading them? No, I did not. So boost them up to the top of the pile. So Tears for Thriller. Again, self-explanatory. You don't need me to explain what a thriller is. So many thrillers. I've got an entire section over there on my my little thriller section. I've heard good things about this one. Apparently the premise is some people turn up in a house and they're like, we used to live here, and then they won't leave. So don't know how that plays out, but apparently it's tense. Some thrillers that I've read recently that I enjoyed. The Woman in Cabin 10. This was great. Loved, 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 loved it. Yeah. For someone who doesn't like boats, it was an excellent boat mystery. Wanted to know what was going on. Fabulous thriller. What else have we got thriller-wise? I mean, like, Lucy Foley's pretty good for a thriller. The Hunting Party, The Guest List. I've got a couple more of hers coming up that I hope to read soon. She's always good fun, and they're very obviously written with people my age demographic in mind. So yeah, if you fancy some millennial thrillers, these are, yeah, they're my jam. If you fancy a thriller that's possibly on the slightly more leaning towards the horror-y side, we have CJ Tudor. She is fantastic. The Drift was a brilliant book that I read. I think it was this year that I read it or last, but what a book. Lots of kind of what's going on, lots of peril. And I've got The Gathering, which I am not sure whether this is supernatural or not, so I can't put it under the supernatural category until I know that, but it's definitely looking like a thriller. I think this is a thriller. You know when you buy a book and you just buy it because of the cover? I mean, look at that cover, like, it makes it, yeah, it's just so aesthetically pleasing. I love the black and white with the vibrant pink. I love the kind of leaning up, kind of courtyardy, old building, claustrophobic look. This is just a gorgeous cover, and I probably should have read the blurb before I started plugging it as a thriller. It's got to be a thriller. We were always the four. From our very first day at High Realms, the 4 scholarship pupils, outsiders in a world of power and privilege. It would have made our lives a lot easier if Marta had simply pushed Genevieve out of our bedroom window that day. Certainly it would have been tragic. She would have died instantly. But Marta didn't push her then, or if you choose to believe me, at any other time. If she had, all of what we went through would not have happened. I've told this story as clearly as I could, as rationally as I've been able in the circumstances to achieve. I don't regret what we did, and I would do it all again. Ooh, Dark Academia. Oh, I love Dark Academia. This looks like your popular fiction version of The Secret History. I'm definitely going to be reading this season. That is a yeah, yum. I've put The Mansion. It's one of the most ambiguous of the categories, but there are so many mysteries set in a mansion, in a manor, in any kind of locked door building. So a couple I read this year: House Across the Lake. Big house. It's a big house. Might not class as a mansion, but it's a big house. I'm counting it. Black Lake Manor, fantastic. Also has time travel elements, so it would fit for Supernatural too. Black Lake Manor, highly recommend this book. Even if you're not a mystery fan, this is a good book. A big manor-y looking house on the cover. The 31 Doors. I'm counting it. It's got a big house on the front. Counting it. Murder at Maybridge Castle by Ada Moncrief. Castle, big building, mansion, counting it. Kind of big locked house, country house murder mystery is going to count. I can think of some others that I've read that would fit this prompt. So J. Jefferson Farjan wrote a book, I think it's called 13 Suspects, although there may have been fewer. No, 13 Guests. It's called 13 Guests. And yeah, that's set in a country house and there are murders, or murder. I can't remember how many murders happen, but you know, that sort of thing would fit this prompt. There's a lot of Agatha Christie's that also fit. Speaking of which, that's my next prompt. If you absolutely hate Agatha Christie, I don't know who hates Agatha Christie because she is the queen of crime. If you hate Agatha Christie, I will let you substitute this one for adapted into a TV show or film. You know, you can have another A, because I wouldn't usually say, okay, for this letter you have to read this author, but she truly is the best. And to this year, I want to read what most people consider to be one of her magnum opuses, or maybe the novel by her, And Then There Were None. I think I know who did this one anyway, because thanks Google. Google ruined it. This version is actually weird. It has a little envelope at the back that you open when you've read it, apparently. So I'm not sure if that's just the last chapter. I'm not sure exactly how that works. And the next one in the Poirot series that I'm reading, Dumb Witness. This was a fantastic episode, if I remember correctly. I think the dog accuses the ghost, or the ghost accuses... No, the ghost accuses the dog. Either way, it's got a cute dog. I think one of my favourite TV moments ever is when, I think it's a fox terrier, and and he's adorable. I'm not even a dog person, but the dog in this episode is so cute, and he can do little tricks. Oh, he's adorable. And and Poirot goes to Hastings. What make of dog is this, Hastings? And I just thought that was so cute. If you feel like you know, just want to do a book inspired by Agatha Christie, that's okay too. If you want to read some Sophie Hannah, that would also be cool. Go for it. Read what you like. It's just fun. It's Christmas. You know. Do I let you count DNFs? No, as somebody who doesn't DNF books, I'm jealous of your ability to do this. You're not getting across in the square. I'm joking, you can do what you like. S is for Supernatural. Now, Supernatural can be anything, so it can be a ghost story mystery, ghost detective novel. Does that exist? I'm not sure. Post-apocalyptic, you can count that. Post-apocalyptic mystery, again, The Drift, I'd allow that. Anything kind of involving a kind of plague. The Last by Hannah Jameson. This is a fantastic book. The focus is a lot on how these people are surviving in this hotel after the end of the world. There is a murder. It is almost secondary to the plot, but yeah, highly recommend that one as an option. I'm personally either going to be reading Murder at Spindle Manor or The Tainted Cup. These are both coming highly recommended to me from the the Fool's Tale, Andrew Watson. I'm part of his Discord group and they've been picks for his book club, and he usually picks absolutely excellent books. So check out his channel if you want to know any more about those. I don't know which one to read, they both look good. Other supernatural type thrillers and murder mysteries. The Silver Blood Promise is technically a murder mystery, although you kind of start off with one murder mystery and it leads into another mystery. This is a fantastic book if you're a fan of Locke Lamora. If you're a fan of this kind of vibey fantasy, it's brilliant. And James Logan is a fan of Midsummer Murders. I know this because he told me. I spoke to James Logan. He's amazing. Great guy, great books. Highly recommend this one. Even if you're not a fantasy fan, dip a toe, try something different. I remember the first time I tried a steampunk genre and I was like, what is this? This is amazing. We need more of this. Victorians, cogs. There were werewolves for some reason. There were historical characters that I'd because when I read it a long time ago, I'd never heard of Algernon Swinburne or Richard Burton. Apparently they were real people and not just great characters invented for Mark Haddon's fantastic series, The Strange Affair of Spring-Heeled Jack. This book does loads of stuff. Loved it. So yeah, you should always try and dip a toe. So if you've got this far, if you've got this video on in the bath or while you're doing something else, and you just, you know, idly taking it in, even though you're not a huge mystery fan, hello, give it a go. Come join me for some mystery this Christmas, this December. Let's see if I can get out of my slump, because usually if I'm in a reading slump, then what I really need to do is go back to what makes me turn pages, and what makes me turn pages is mystery novels, crimes and thrillers. This is my jam. And the person who got me back into reading as an adult, and if you've been following the channel a while, I may already have said this, but it was the lovely Harlan Coben. And he's just gone from strength to strength over the years, putting more and more books out, and like he's just such a page turner. You know, you read the first and he just grabs you and pulls you in. And I remember I didn't even mean to pick it up. I was just lying on the sofa feeling really poorly, and a copy of Promise Me just happened to be next to me. Hadn't read a book in ages. The stuff I read as a teenager was mainly stuff about people going on holiday and, you know, getting it on. That was mainly what I read when I was younger. Read a few mysteries. I used to like a bit of Nancy Drew and whatnot, but this was the first time that as an adult I realised you could replicate that feeling of reading The Secret Seven or whatever, reading a book where there's lots of sneaking around, twists and turns, where there's tension, where there's stuff to do. And I really couldn't thank Harlan Coben enough, because if I hadn't picked that up that day, I may never have kind of got into reading as an adult. I mean, I probably would have found a way back to the bookshop in the end, but certainly that was my gateway drug. So yeah, if you're looking for a thriller and, you know, you've not read any Harlan Coben, he's fantastic. Fade Away was probably my favourite by him. The Woods is a fantastic standalone. If you want to sample what he's like, The Woods is brilliant. Promise Me was my starting point, but that's about the 7th in the season. It's about the 7th in the series. But my mind was just blown. Mind was blown, and yeah. And I've met Harlan Coben too. Yeah, that's me many years ago, looking really happy in a Waterstones in Manchester. Anywho, been a pleasure to introduce you to my new den and spend some time with you this evening. I hope to catch you all soon. Happy reading!